Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Thursday update, recorded on August the 22nd. Well, we've got windy weather on the way for the next couple of days, but even windier over the next couple of weeks, as what looks like an early spring weather pattern starting to kick in. And it usually does kick in anytime from the end of July through to pretty much the start of September. So we're into that zone right now. Let's have a look at the animated wind map. You can see high pressure to the north and out to the east. Not a lot of wind in the middle of that, but around the outer edges, the subtropical wind is coming down and into the west coast of the South Island. So milder weather blowing through Cook Strait, windy today through there and in Wellington, and windy also down next to Fiordland, but certainly warmer than the start of this week, where our airflow came from Antarctica or very close to it. This is how we look at tonight at 8 o'clock. You can see this rain here on the west coast. Now let me animate the next 24 hours. You'll see how heavy this becomes, sets in across the central part there, and then by tomorrow night finally starts to move on northwards. And this front here coming into the North Island, that's weakening because of that high pressure further to the east and the north. So let's have a look at lunchtime Friday. You can certainly see that heavy rain over on the west coast. Now the good news is we've got a number of fronts like this over the next week or two, and that will help bring up rain or bring in rain for the hydro lakes. Many of you might have seen the news yesterday about how low those levels are getting. So over the next couple of weeks, plenty of westerly winds will be driving in more rain to this area. There hasn't necessarily been a lot of rain over on the west coast this winter, but now we're getting into that spring pattern defined by more westerly winds, and so we are expecting to see a bit more rain over there. But strong and windy on Friday, gale force winds, severe gale in some spots. And then you've got that subtropical breeze coming down over the North Island. So North Islanders, your overnight temperatures tonight will be milder than they were when you woke up this morning. Into the weekend. So this front moves into the North Island and crumbles due to high pressure right there and out to the east. So to the west and to the east, there is high pressure, and stuck in the middle over the top of the North Island, that broken front. Some of you might get kind of a drizzly light rain or showers lasting for a few hours. Others of you might not get much at all as that front falls apart over the top of the country. Elsewhere, temperatures drop a little bit, not a huge amount, as they turn a bit more west to southwest. But on Sunday, nor'west winds out of Australia's interior come back over again for New Zealand. So that means a bit more rain for the west coast, and the North Island's mostly dry, a couple of showers around on the western side there from Taranaki down to about Kapiti, otherwise dry and certainly mild and dry for those of you in the east. So next week, all right, let's get into this because of this big storm down here over the Southern Ocean right next to Antarctica. It's a long way from us, but what it does is it produces these big windy westerlies south of Australia and straight into New Zealand. So here on Monday, windy west to northwest winds. They might be gale force around central areas, a little bit of rain around central parts of the country, mostly over on the west coast and maybe sort of Antarctica westwards. But really it's going through next week that gets a little more interesting. Now this storm down here towards Antarctica, 9:26. Yesterday it said 9:16. I think our map showed 9:18. So that is very low air pressure. Even if it moves around another 10 or 20 hectopascals or more, that is still very low air pressure. Now, if you don't know what that means, it means more of these white lines on the map, more isobars, and that means more wind. So even though it's a big Antarctic storm, we're not forecasting snow and cold weather around New Zealand. In fact, quite the opposite. It could be warm, windy weather coming through, at least for the beginning part of this system. And so those windy westerlies, Tuesday next week, still a few showers at the top of New Zealand, one or two on the west coast. Otherwise, this is a northwesterly driven weather pattern. We get through to Wednesday, our final map here, and you can just see how large this low is. Centered right down here over the Southern Ocean, right next to Antarctica. It stretches all the way up to New South Wales, South Australia, and into the North Island of New Zealand. And so windy west to northwest winds carry on, and you can see as that low tracks along to the east here, all the windy weather comes along with it. Whether or not we get the cold southerly at the end, not locked in. Sometimes as this all moves along, they get stretched out to more westerlies or southwesterlies. So we're keeping a close eye on it. But basically this to me looks a lot like a spring weather pattern starting to arrive. That is all from me for today. See you again tomorrow, Friday, with our next update. Catch you then.